Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the questions. And it's been interesting. First 24 hours, several of my friends and clients have reached out and asked me a couple of the things that I concern them. It's a little easier for me because I know how they play, so I can, know exactly what they've been doing. A friend of mine wrote in Bulgarian today. He's a pretty accomplished player, but he's struggling with just relaxing, allowing the body to dictate the motion flowing on a forehand side. He feels like he's forcing the racket through, and as a result, the body sort of gets stuck, the arm takes over, and then the wrist takes over, and then the racket takes over. And as a result, it's very hard for him to time the ball well to the specific target, and his consistency drops. So he wanted me to help him with that, and something that he can do at home because he's sort of in isolation like the rest of us. So let's see what we can do to help him. And of course, all of you who have a similar problem in their game. So let me put this aside for a second. What he means is, if you do everything right, you see the ball coming, let's say your forehand side, you turn shoulders, hips, the racket is back, and then the motion comes from the ground up. You want to have feet, knees, hips, shoulders. The shoulder then pulls the arm pulls the racket, so the body goes out of the way, the racket takes over, and the motion becomes very fluid, like a pool, right? So what he feels is like he's forcing the arm forward, and then the body resists against it. So if I push my arm very fast, the body almost recoils. And also, when the arm reaches here, it can't go forward anymore because the body is in the way. And as a result, the arm gets stuck, the wrist starts to straighten out, and the racket starts to move across. So when the racket moves across, obviously the strings are not pointing at the intended target. So he relies on super precise timing to meet the ball the right way for the ball to go where he intended. So an easy way for us to practice at home is the whole notion of keeping the wrist quiet. You may have heard that in the past, but people don't really put their attention to it. So you can do a couple of things. Is there something I can use? We'll start first with just doing nothing. Assuming we're doing a forehand, I want you to place the racket at the contact point. So let's say we want to send the ball forward, and then I want you to shake hands with the racket, and that will be a good position for me to hit the ball straight ahead because the strings are pointing straight ahead. Now it's important that as I'm touching the ball, right, I want my strings to continue pointing forward. And you might have heard like windshield wipers, rainbows, whatnot. So as I hit the ball, I want my strings to keep pointing at the target. The easiest way to do that is if I allow my arm to rotate around my shoulder. It's not me forcing it, it's just allowing it to rotate. But the cool part is that you can do a full motion, being very aware of the wrist being absolutely still, right? You've heard it, quiet wrist. And then you can do the whole thing without moving the wrist anywhere. So I'm here. I turn my body, the wrist never moved. And you can really look at your wrist and try to see if the angle changes. And then you move a little more, the wrist never changed. You move a little more, the wrist never changed. You can do a backswing, the wrist never changed, right? From here, just gravity, the wrist never changes, right? It reaches to the bottom of the swing, and then you turn the body out of the way, the wrist never changed. You continuously watch your wrist when you reach forward. Now you see the wrist doesn't change, the arm starts to rotate naturally, and you go through the motion, and you go through the follow through. So at home, you just be super aware about the wrist. So you're doing motions while looking at this part of the hand, and you're trying to do forehand motions. They're gonna feel a little stiff, but you will see that the strings are pointing always at the intended target, which is straight ahead in this case, right? So you can do it forever, for as long as you want, and it's gonna feel a little restricted, but you're gonna feel very confident that if you do this motion, the balls are always gonna go straight ahead. Okay, I hope this helps. You can actually do different things. I'm not sure what do I have here. I have lead tape. Maybe you can use a little tape, sort of tape the racket. What do we do? Maybe put it here, maybe wrap it around. I don't know, if you have tape, right? And then, let's make it a little tighter. Oh, it didn't work. Right, so I want this to be relatively tight. So I'm gonna set the racket this way if I'm not quite sure that I can do everything right. So I put the tape around. So I'm trying to do the motion, right? And neither, and don't change the angles. So from here, I can just even close my eyes and try to create this good feeling of the racket trailing the hand, the wrist being quiet and isolated, and the body leading the motion. So if you do that for a little while, you will create muscle memory and you will not feel the urge to straighten the wrist, because this is what happens. And when you don't straighten the wrist, you're gonna be more consistent. So you're gonna solve consistency this way. And then as a result, when the wrist is back, right, the body will want to turn around for you to complete your follow through. I hope this helps, and I hope this helps all other people who have the same problems. And if you have more questions or comments about it, just send them my way and I'll see what I can do to help. Thank you. Bye.